We got another rally, however, underway for you right now. This one happening in South Carolina for Donald Trump. You will be the happiest people. He almost sounds a little bit evangelical, really trying to inspire people, to inspire voters, and this seems to be what they are responding to. I'd like to get full analysis here with radio host Chris Hahn, a former advisor to New York Senator Chuck Schumer. Reaction also from Ford O'Connell, a former advisor to Mitt Romney. And also, I'm joined by our very own Eric Bolling here on set. We're going to be the best. We are the best. We're going to, recreate what America once was. And Ford, people want that. I mean, he talks about the silent majority out there. There are a lot of people in America that have felt disengaged from the political process, that feel like, you know what, it's just Washington, it's just a bunch of politicians. No one can really make a difference. And he's promising that he's the guy that can.
Well, absolutely. He's portraying himself as a passionate fighter who's pushing a positive, nationalistic and populist message. And what people like is that he's basically sticking it to establishment politicians. He's answering off the cuff. He may not be so deep in substance right now, but he's giving people a reason to believe. And that's why he's leading the Republican presidential field right now. And
he's also promising that he's going to beat everyone else, that no one stands a chance against him. And the guy's kind of got a sense of humor. Chris, I know you're no fan of his, but he's plugging into something.
Hold on a minute. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he is probably the best performance artist I've ever seen in my life. And I got to say something. I think that if this keeps up, he's going to be the Republican nominee. And guys like Ford, who are institutional Republicans, should be very, very concerned about that, because he is going to destroy the Republican Party as we know it, because what he stands for is not quite clear. And when you talk about how he doesn't get bogged down in the specifics, look, the American people don't get bogged down in specifics until the very end of these campaigns. He is very likely, if this continues,
Chris,
without any abatement, he's going to be the nominee.
Let me say one thing. I have to say this. He is arrogant but confident, okay? And I'm neutral in this crapshoot. And at the end of the day, it's that sort of positive confidence. People want an alpha male, okay? And here's the deal. He's no longer just a shiny object for the media. He is, in fact, a credible candidate to win the Republican nomination.
He's actually,
regardless of how,
Ford,
whether you love him or loathe him.
No argument. No argument for me, man.
He's credible.
He's getting better.
He's credible, but you don't think he'd win the whole thing. Is Donald Trump too liberal?
I don't think he's too liberal, but I definitely think he has to actually come out and give some substance. Let me say this. Self-deprecating and humor on the campaign trail is great. Frankly, Hillary Clinton's got a problem. She doesn't smile, and she looks like she's passing a stone every time she gets basically cross-examined.
That's not nice.
Boy. All right, well, let's switch gears here. Talk a little bit about Jorge Ramos. This was the first time that Donald Trump came out since that whole ordeal the other night. He's right. He really didn't erupt. I watched that, Eric, in live time, and Jorge Ramos did stand up and insisted on continuing to talk despite the fact that he hadn't been called on. And Donald Trump was pretty calm about it. He just had his security escort him out. Did the media mischaracterize some of this?
Let me say this. A lot gets lost in translation with Hispanic media, okay, and Jorge Ramos is a huge celebrity among Hispanic viewers. What I will say that Trump will need to do, if he wins the nomination, is get a fluent speaking Hispanic as his VP. Hence, Marco Rubio is his best choice, because you have to hit back on the Democratic ads and you have to hit back on the headlines, because guess what? Most Hispanics don't pay attention to political news. They watch ESPN, Deportes,
well,
and
that
Univision.
is solid advice. That is solid advice. Ford.
Is Marco Rubio really the guy, though? I mean, he's Cuban. And there's a little bit of a disconnect there between, say, the Cuban community and the rest of the Hispanics in the country.
I agree with you, Trish, that Mexicans are the most important group, but do you think that Jeb Bush is going to be the VP to Donald Trump? I'll see that when pigs fly.
Hey, George Herbert Walker Bush was Reagan's VP, and they went at it against each other on real issues. I mean, George Herbert Walker Bush was so critical of Ronald Reagan. He called it voodoo economics, his economics plan, and he was a solid VP and led to a solid career for him. So stranger things have happened in politics.
So in other words, pigs can fly. All right, guys, thank you so much. Good to have you here.